Happy Sunday evening, everyone. Right now, it's just so quiet. It's relaxed. It's so hard to believe that 2 weeks ago on Sunday evening, we were dealing with the aftermath of Deebo Samuel re-signing with the 49ers. So stuff has settled down a little bit at 49ers training camp as we've gotten into the rhythm, into the flow of this 2022 season. One preseason game's in the book. I feel that people didn't freak out as much about Trey Lance's rougher day today at practice because they've already seen him play in a game. And, when the regular season starts, we're not going to be able to see him practice every single day. I'll be able to see him warm up, but the 49ers close things off during the regular season. So I think this up and down wave of volatility that really causes people to wring their hands right on the internet after they see one good day, one bad day. I think maybe that will finally even out. Maybe we'll move to one good game, one bad game for Trey Lance, but we'll see how this season progresses. We are entering a little state of normalcy. We were back in the locker room after the game on Friday, and now the 49ers are about to head to Minnesota for some joint practices on Wednesday and Thursday. Before then, they have a practice tomorrow at Levi Stadium. Then they board the plane. Then they have a day off in Minneapolis. And then they practice on Wednesday and Thursday before a walkthrough on Friday and the game on Saturday. So that's the upcoming 49ers schedule. Mike points out 19 subs till 18K. He is right. So make sure let's hit it on this live. Hit that subscribe button. Mike will keep track of that. We hit 17K, which is the number of that jersey right by me just a few days ago. Now we're about to hit 18K. I don't have an 18 jersey. 17 is just a lucky number in the family. So while we're in the 17th, it's a good thing that we have the number 17 up there on the screen. But this is going to be a Q&A show, and that is after I tell you about what happened to practice today. I know I did a brief live from Levi Stadium. Not a lot happened. You could check it out. That's George. This happened a little bit later. That's George Kittle with Terrell Owens. Why don't we have this at the top of the show? The 49ers today raised $760,000 for Bay Area youth at the Players for a Purpose kickoff dinner. This is the only event where essentially the entire roster is available to the public outside of actual football stuff, even though they are wearing their jerseys. And some fans got to sit and eat dinner with some of their favorite 49ers players, including George Kittle. And Terrell Owens was he was fanning out a little bit. He was, he had his phone out. He was taping some of the players up on the stage today. A lot of football talent in that one frame. So that was this evening after practice. Before then, we had this. Trey Lance, 4 of 15 in a very light, non-padded session. This is, maybe I just wasn't on social media enough, but I feel if Trey Lance had gone 4-15 last week before he looked good in the preseason game against the Packers, there would have been just a complete meltdown on Twitter. Fortunately, there was not a meltdown on Twitter, at least according to my vantage point. Maybe there was. I could be wrong. Reddit, Twitter, wherever people are talking about Trey Lance. He wasn't accurate today. It's as simple as that. The 49ers offense, I think, didn't really benefit from the fact that it was a light practice without pads. So the offensive line couldn't protect itself. Nick Bosa was in the backfield a lot. There was 2 bat downs of Trey Lance passes. One batted actually up into the air. So it was a tip that went to Fred Warner. It was the 49ers' 17th interception of training camp. And outside of that, Trey was just generally inaccurate. Ty Davis Price dropped a pass coming out of the backfield. That wasn't good. Ayuk had to, really climb the ladder to go get one of Trey's 4 completions. I don't like to make too much of it because I think it's stupid to make too much of practice, but I am reporting what happened. And the pattern that we've seen from Trey Lance throughout the course of this training camp has been good practice, bad practice, good game, bad practice. You see how it goes. It's been mercurial. It's been volatile. It's been up and down, but hey, he's getting better. And we've seen the prodigious talent, right? And that's all that the 49ers, I think, do need to see. So if you want to ask questions about Trey, I will answer them during the Q&A. I also have some practice footage from today. This is up a little bit earlier, but we can take a quick look at it. I think that these are the wide receivers, and I was able to get a different view because the stands are no longer there. They took down the portable stands for training camp. This was the first practice of camp without fans. So fans were there for the first 12. Now I'm standing where the players' family VIP area was over the first 12. This is practice number 13. There's a look at Trey. He's going to go into his footwork drills at the start of practice with Brian Greasy, Bobby Slowick, and the rest of that 49ers coaching staff. This was also unusual that it was a little bit later in the day. We had this practice at 1:05 p.m. instead of the usual 10:25 a.m. So it made it a little bit warmer. But hey, warmth in the Bay Area, that's different than heat elsewhere in the country. So it's not like people were sweating all too bad. Just a brighter sun and afternoon in the Bay. Here's some slow-mo for you, Trey to Jawan Jennings. You could take a look at the quicker release. You can see he's not dipping the ball back as low as he used to, but he's still dipping a little bit, although our Ted Nguyen wrote a piece saying that, dipping the ball is not, necessarily something that's bad for a quarterback's mechanics. It's something that sometimes if he keeps the ball high enough, if it's not coming down too low, if that starting point is in a good spot for the dip, then it actually still correlate with a quick release. This is the first snap, first team offensive line. Brendel at center. Remember, Brunskill's out right now with the hamstring strain. So Brendel's going to win that center job in all likelihood. You have Banks and Burford at the guard spots. Ooh, a little pitch to Deebo Samuel. There you go. The 49ers in the open period of practice giving Deebo some run. Here's Lance throwing a little high to Jawan Jennings. Then, what I liked about this is, even though they missed that throw, they go right back to it and they make sure they get the fundamentals right. No running this time, and they got it nailed down. Because, the one thing that Trey needs is consistency with the short to intermediate game, especially on some of those out routes. We haven't seen that consistency yet in practice. He missed one in the game to Danny Gray. That was a deeper out route. It was a tough throw. I'm not denying that, but you got to have those to move the chains. And I think that when he misses either those or some of the shorter ones, it comes from a place of mechanical inconsistency that the 49ers are trying to hammer home. So that way, once we reach the regular season, they're picking up those 3rd and 4s with the pitch and catches. That might seem easy because you watched Brady do it for 20 plus years, but these are not routine plays, especially with a pass rush in a quarterback's face with live bullets flying, right? So that's what the 49ers are working on in practice, just making sure that Trey can raise the floor and harness more of that ceiling. Because if he lives near the ceiling, he's going to do some impressive stuff for this football team. Wanted to make sure you got to look at, both quarterback 1 and quarterback 2. So this is Nate Sudfeld. I don't post that many videos of Sudfeld, but he's going to go to Jennings right here. And usually for this drill, they'll bring in they'll bring in one of the receivers. So sometimes it's Deebo Samuel, sometimes it's somebody else. Maybe in the future, they're going to bring in this guy, 89, Charlie Werner, tight end, activated from PUP, physically unable to perform. Core muscle surgery this offseason. So this was Werner's first time back out at practice. I immediately have slotted him into the 53-man depth chart, so I project him to make the roster. And it's good little insurance for the 49ers at tight end, because that guy on your left, George Kittle, we know all about him. We're just not really sure what's going to be behind George Kittle in the 49ers tight end room this year. And they have Dwelly. He's a trusted agent. Obviously, Werner's back now. He'll be working into the fold, I'm sure, over the next couple of weeks. They still have nearly a month before the regular season. And Tyler Kroft took the first team snaps on Friday in a game that George Kittle didn't play. I just walked around here a little bit. You could see me taking a look at Trent Williams. These are all combo blocks. These are tight ends working with offensive linemen, namely tackles, for the combo blocks that are so important in Kyle Shanahan's outside zone. So 47 is Tyler Kroft, who I mentioned, 67, Justin School, 78, undrafted free agent Sam Schluter out of Minnesota. He's a tackle rookie for the 49ers this year. 82 is Dwelly, and I'm sure you know who that is. Big, bad Trent Williams. Another look over on Kittle's side now as Kittle gets into one of those combination blocks for the 49ers. So that's what was going on at practice today. 77, Alfredo Gutierrez. 49ers going to Mexico City this year. Alfredo Gutierrez, Mexican native. And then finally, I wrapped up the practice coverage today with a D-line video. Drake Jackson, good news for the 49ers, is only a stinger. He was back at practice. That's Daryl Tapp in the gray sweatsuit, Chris Kasarik on the right in the red hat. 49ers, 2 defensive line coaches getting to work. Javon Kinlaw had the bat down to end practice today, and he might have been the one that knocked the pass up in there that was intercepted by Fred Warner, but it was just really hard to tell. I asked D'Amico Ryans, and he couldn't tell either. So a lot of chaos at practice, and that's probably something they won't be sure about until they watch the game tape. So anyway, while this video plays out, we can start moving to some of the questions. The 49ers Q&A is open now. I'm going to the chat section, see what you guys have for me. Oh, by the way, before I get too far into it, this piece today, what I wrote from practice, Trey Lance off target in a light 49ers practice, Charlie Warner activated from PUP. Well, go ahead and click on the link. It's in the chat section. That is the article, and subscribe to The Athletic because I do put a lot of time into this kind of stuff, and I do hope that if you watch the videos, you read the articles as well. There's a lot of in-depth 49ers coverage in there that I can tell you will be worth it. All right, time to go to the chat section. Let's check it out. I'm going to scroll up a little bit to see if there were any early questions from some of you OG viewers. It's just you guys asking each other how you're doing. It's kind of cool. There's a sense of community like that. Everybody talking a little bit. All right, here, Big Papa. Any chance that Cal will replace Mike McGlinchey at right tackle while he's recovering? No, zero chance of that. Nick Zakelj is a very developmental project for the 49ers out of Fordham in the Patriot League. I'd be shocked if he got playing time in an actual game this year. I project him to go to the practice squad. On top of that, he was a tackle in college, but the 49ers are looking at him as a guard and a center in the NFL. So Colton McKivitz is going to be the next replacement for Mike McGlinchey. Possibly, though, Jordan Mills, veteran, 9-year veteran who they brought in just about a week ago. He can grab a roster spot for the 49ers. He's a known commodity that could spell Mike McGlinchey. In fact, today Mills was working with the second team. Started with the third, up to the second. The known commodity part of that might help him. But Colton McKivitz has been a lot better than Justin School, let's put it that way. So if you're looking at a pecking order at swing tackle, with Jalen Moore obviously out right now, he might be back within a week or so. But if you're looking at that pecking order, then I think it's Colton McKivitz and Jordan Mills. Nick Zakelj, the rookie out of Fordham, he's only on the interior line mix, and he is very likely headed to the practice squad for the 49ers. Big Papa went on to say, where is our host? Well, the host is here. This was a long time ago, though, so I get it. Scrimmages feature the starters for both teams, correct? Well, yeah, as many starters as are available in these open practices between the Vikings and the 49ers on Wednesday and Thursday. They were fun last year when the 49ers and the Chargers linked up in Costa Mesa. And the Vikings, the 49ers and the Vikings played a really good game last year at Levi's. They were in the playoffs together, right, in the 2019 season, 2020, January 2020. They still have a lot of the same talent in Minnesota, plus maybe a few upgrades or at least replacements. You have Justin Jefferson in there now. No more Stephon Diggs, obviously, but it's a talented receiving core. The 49ers are going to have to go against the starters with as many starters as are available for Minnesota. Same thing for the 49ers, obviously, because they're going to be down some cornerbacks. Maybe Emmanuel Mosley will be back. He wasn't at practice yet on Sunday, but Charvarius Ward won't be back, and the 49ers are going to have to go with some reserves on the outside against Thielen, against Justin Jefferson. So that's going to be a big test for them against a really good Minnesota receiving crew. And the good news is that it's just practice, and the 49ers will be happy to stop playing somebody that's themselves. That's just the inverse of their own uniform. We've already seen one brawl at 49ers training camp, the Fred Warner Ayuk day. And a couple of years ago when the 49ers and the Texans had joint practices, I believe it was in 2018, it was maybe that was 2019. I can't even remember. Jimmy Ward, though, and DeAndre Hopkins got after it right during practice. So you will potentially see some scraps in these practices because finally you get an opponent out there to practice against, not just your own team. What are your personal thoughts about joint practices? I went to one of the ones with the Chargers last year. Thoughts about the Vikings? Well, I guess I saw into the future and I already kind of answered some of this question. I thought the ones against the Chargers last year with fantastic energy. Derwin James had a pick six at the goal line against Jimmy Garoppolo. All the Chargers fans went crazy. A lot of Niners fans as well. We got an up-close look at Herbert, which was good. And, hey, the 49ers offense also moved the ball. It's not like they just had that one pick six. They moved the ball against a good Chargers defense. I remember Jimmy Garoppolo hitting Travis Benjamin on a deep ball into the end zone. It was just a good preview of what were two good football teams last year. I know the Chargers ultimately didn't make the playoffs, but I think that they had a lot of talent. And we look at the Vikings now, spinning it forward to this year. This is also a Minnesota team with a lot of talent that obviously has some playoff history in the not so distant past with the 49ers. And I do like that matchup of the Vikings receivers against the 49ers reserve cornerbacks, because those guys are going to get a trial by fire before the game start. And you need Ambry Thomas, you need Deommodore Lenoir, you need players like that. Sam Womack, we talk about him. Adam Thielen lines up in the slot a lot. So between Womack, Darqueze Dennard, this is going to be a good test for the 49ers defense, especially the secondary, to work against that Minnesota receiving core. They're not going to play a lot of starters in the game on Saturday, so it's all going to be about the practice reps on Wednesday and Thursday at the Vikings facility. Yep, Mike says it here. 49ers first team offense versus the Vikings first team defense, and vice versa. This is a good question. Will there be video from joint practices, or is video not allowed like a Niner practices during scrimmages? Every team is different. Last year, it was a total free-for-all. The Chargers let you live stream the 11-on-11s. I think fans did that. There are fans there that literally live streamed 11-on-11s. I don't know what the Vikings policy is. We'll find out here over the course of Wednesday and Thursday. Mike, how many subs are we at? He says 19 till 18K. Let's get an update from Mike. Mike, go ahead and text me that, because I am not caught up to all the questions. So I am very curious to see how many we have right now. We got to get to 18K on this show. That's the thing. These may be the waning moments of 17,000. So you guys know the importance of 17,000. It's right there. We want to get to 18. And then somebody could send me an 18 jersey. Elvis Gerback, number 18. That'd be good. Elvis Gerback. So now we're okay. We are 17 followers away from 18K. 17, literally 17 followers away. So make that number change. We want to be Joe Montana away from 18K. So one more, that's number 16. Then we'll be 15, 14. Wasn't Jim Druckenmiller 14? What was he? Yeah, I think he was 14. Steve Bono, 13. John Brody, 12. Alex Smith, 11. Jimmy Garoppolo, 10. 9. Who's a good 9 for the 49ers? 8, Steve Young. We could play this a long time, but it's amazing that I can't think of a 9. Does anybody have a good 9? Of course, yeah, Robbie. There you go. Robbie right now. Robbie Gold, 9. Is Robbie Gold the greatest number 9 that the 49ers have had in their history? Now we're only 15 away. So we're making a lot of progress. Yeah, Gabbert, Blaine Gabbert. I think Robbie Gold's done more for the 49ers franchise than Blaine Gabbert. Phil Dawson. Yeah, I mean, Dawson was a good kicker. Dawson, number 9. So nine's normally a kicker number. For the Bears or Jim McMahon, it was a QB number. Going down, I think we're at 6. Jose Cortez. Definitely didn't have the illustrious 49ers kicking career that Phil Dawson or Robbie Gold have had, but Jose Cortez. 5, Jeff Garcia. 4, big bad Nick Mullins, right? 3, we'll go with CJ Beathard at 3. Got to give Beathard a shout out. No, Gabbert was 2. Who are you talking? Somebody said Gabbert was 9. Did Gabbert have 9 at some point? Gabbert was 2. Oh, sure, Gabbert was 2. And then number 1, Jimmy Ward. Got to show Jimmy Ward some love. Cap. Yeah, 7 was Kaepernick. I didn't realize that I had skipped 7. So we got Young 8, Kaepernick 7, 6, Jose Cortez. Can't think of a 6 other than Jose Cortez right now. Mohamed Sanu last year. 5, Trey Lance is playing right now, so we could go Lance too. But Lance, Jeff Garcia. 4, Nick Mullins. 3, CJ Beathard. 2, 2, Jason Verrett. Oh, you know who could be 2? Dr. Disrespect. Dr. Disrespect got the 2. He got Jason Verrett's jersey the other day. I think that's better than Gabbert, who I believe wore number 2. Joe Nedney wore number 6. That's a good one. And number 1, we'll say Jimmy Ward. All right, so that's our top 10. We went through all of them. All right, cool. More questions now. We're done playing the numbers game. I'm going to hide this and... What Niners do you feel will make the remainder of the NFL top 100? Well, somebody get me caught up because I haven't been following it. I know Jimmy Ward made it at like 96, right? So is Jimmy the only one that's currently in there? I just wait for the list to be finished. So obviously Bosa's going to be on there. Kittle's going to be on there. Trent Williams is going to be on there. Fullbacks deserve some love. Has Kyle Juszczyk gotten on it in years past? I hope Kyle Juszczyk gets on it. Charvarius Ward, I think, is starting to gain some respect around the league as a cornerback, but I don't know if he's going to fall in the top 100. Maybe after this season, after working with his pass rush, he will. Fred Warner should be on that top 100 list. Ward is already on it. So Juice was in it last year. I'm looking at this. I don't think Brock Purdy is going to make it. Oh, Juszczyk was on it, 97. Okay, cool. So Juszczyk did make it. So, yeah. So anyway, I just went through like the laundry list of 49ers star players, guys who are really good at their respective positions. And, me just kind of casually going through that list should imprint in your mind how much top-end talent this team has. They have plenty of top-end talent to get the job done. It's about developing at the margins and coming together as a cohesive unit, 1 through 53, and not just 1 through 53. It's like 1 through 70, right? It becomes essentially a 70-man roster during the regular season when you add the 16-man practice squad. Plus, I'm not going to forget about Alfredo Gutierrez. So when you look at the totality of everything, you have star power, you have the glue guys. Well, we'll see if the 49ers have the adequate glue guys, but I think they definitely have the star power, and they obviously also need to have health luck. And the formula, if they have all the three of those things, the formula is there for them to make a run toward the title this year. The roster is talented enough for this 49ers team, and I think this top 100 exercise is well worth doing just because you can appreciate what they have on the football team. Just got a media alert, press release in the 49ers. They raised the record-breaking donation total at this year's Players for a Purpose event. So, good stuff from the 49ers. $760,000 raised, the largest amount ever in the event's 5-year history. I believe they made $650K last year. This year, $760. So, all toward Bay Area youth education. Good stuff from the 49ers. All right, Q&A remains open. Let's go to some more. Is somebody mentioned Mac Jones? He's not on the top 100. I hope not. Kirk Cousins made the list. Well, the league respects Kirk Cousins. I know fans don't really respect Kirk Cousins. The league respects him. Kyle Shanahan obviously respects him. The 49ers should see him this week, right? If he's healthy again. I know Jimmy was pretty high up on the list. Garoppolo a couple years ago, right? The injury issues have really been tough for him because he missed almost all of 2020, and then he kind of slid into the playoffs with those 2 entries in 2021. But, this is another good example of a player who other players and coaches respect, but will take a lot of heat on social media. I think Kirk Cousins might be the king of that, taking a ton of heat on social media. But, he has managed to be efficient. He might be boring. He might be a little goofy, but I could see how Kirk Cousins would make a list like this. So Mac Jones is on the list. Oh, wow. See, that's one thing. I don't think Mac Jones has earned his try. I thought Mac wasn't all that last year. Mac, he was like halfway down in the efficiency rankings. This wasn't like he was a top 10 guy. And it wasn't like, oh, okay, this guy, he might be boring. He might just be executing the offense, but he's really efficient. He's in the top 6 or top 7 efficiency. No, he wasn't. He was like 18 for a lot of the year. It wasn't like he was running that efficient of a ship down in New England. Now, was it impressive for a rookie? Somewhat, yes. But there was a whole narrative created around Mac Jones last year that he was somehow already a top 10 quarterback from some people, and that it was an amazing swing from Bill Belichick to grab Mac Jones, and that Kyle Shanahan really messed this up, and it just wasn't true. The EPA, DVOA, everything had Mac Jones as like a middling QB at best. So until he delivers substantial results efficiency-wise, because that's what it ultimately is about. You have to put your team in position to win games. Until he delivers substantial results, I don't understand how he's on a top 100 list. I think there's some preconceived bias with Mac Jones. I think that he went to New England. Everybody thinks, oh, they know what they're doing. He has to be good. And then people kind of just like categorize him into that bucket. I'm not saying he's a bad quarterback. I'm just saying that Mac, last year wasn't proof of anything. It was a good rookie season. It was a good start for him, but it wasn't good in terms of, oh my God, this guy's a top 100 player in the NFL. All right, off my soapbox. And, if Kurt Sampson's thought is correct, then Mac has already reached his ceiling, which would mean that, at least he made the top 100. At least his ceiling's in the top 100, I guess. But I guess some players think that he belongs in there. Mike, how many away are we? Are we still 15 away? We down to single digits? We down to 10, Jimmy, 9, Robbie, 8, Steve Young, 7, Kaepernick, 6, Jose Cortez. If you have a better 6, let me know. 5, Lance / Garcia. 4, Mullins. 3, Beathard. 2, Dr. Disrespect. No, I can't disrespect Jason Verrett like that. 2, Jason Verrett. 1, Jimmy Ward. We're 13 away now. We're Bono. I saw Steve Bono today at the Players for a Purpose dinner. So we're 13 away. Bono number. Mac Jones so far, decent on a cheap contract. There's a reason why the 49ers didn't go for him, because they were trying to have a higher ceiling than what Mac Jones might bring to the table on that rookie contract with Trey Lance. And now we're down to 12. So we're at Brody now. John Brody, 12 away. So yeah, 6. Yeah, let's do Joe Nedney. Good one. I can't keep up with all these comments. It's better than Jose Cortez. We'll do Joe Nedney, not Jose Cortez, for 6. Right now we are John Brody away from 18K. Kofor wore 6. That was back in the day when the Niners didn't have great special teams units. They had a Hall of Fame offense, Hall of Fame defense, but the special teams languished a little bit. Bosa, I would think, yes, would be top 10. But I think Bosa's a top 5 player in football. I personally think that the top player in football should be a tie between Trent Williams and Aaron Donald. I mean, it's such apples and oranges, right? One's a defensive lineman, one's an offensive lineman. They're doing two opposite things, like totally opposite things. But I don't think there's anybody better than Trent. Complete freak, right? The size, strength, speed combination. You could say the same exact thing about Aaron Donald, the size, strength, and speed combination. Do you think that Jason Poe will make the 53 as a backup guard? That's a great question, Esley Green. I think there is momentum working in his favor. I still think it's a longer shot. They will definitely keep him in the building. And that's going to give him an opportunity to play at some point this year. It's not just about the 53. It's about the 70-man roster. But boy, I love Poe's low center of gravity. I talk about a lot. He's the shortest O-lineman in the league, right? But that also means that defensive linemen in the league aren't used to working against the guy who has such a low center of gravity. And I think Poe knows how to leverage that lower center of gravity to his benefit. So I was impressed with him. He was glowing after the game on Friday. God, it doesn't feel like Sunday. It's crazy because I've been working all weekend. And I think that Jason Poe will stay in the 49ers building because they are actually enamored with the guy. Do I think that the Jimmy G trade will get done before the regular season starts? That's a good question. Cleveland, if this Deshaun Watson suspension drops and it's a year long, it has to get done before the regular season starts, right? Garoppolo, if and when he makes the 53-man roster, the 49ers will owe him a roster spot. And then I think September 10th is the day that his contract becomes fully guaranteed, which is the night before the season opener on September 11th. So the 49ers need to, A, keep a roster spot open. They don't want to be burning roster spots. And B, they need to save the money, right? They've indicated that that's important to them. So I think that any movement, whether it be trade or release, happens before the regular season starts. Does Jalen Moore have a chance to take McGlinchey's starting spot? No, not his starting spot. He does have a chance to take the spot if McGlinchey is hurt. Problem right now for Jalen Moore is that he's hurt as well. Leg strain for him. So both guys are out, which means McKivitz is the guy taking reps there. Maybe Jordan Mills moving forward in the future. But McKivitz, I think, is the top option that's available for the 49ers right now. What does Jordan Mason have to do to make the team? I think guys in front of him have to not be available. I mean, it's going to be tough for the newest guy, undrafted rookie, to make the team. If Sermon is available, Elijah Mitchell is available, Jeff Wilson is available, Ty Davis Price is available. There's 4. If all 4 are available, you're looking at Jordan Mason as a practice squad guy to start. But, good news, I put that in quotes, not really good news when guys get hurt. The realistic news is that the running back position typically suffers a lot of injuries, even early in the season. So the 49ers probably going to have to use all of those bodies. How confident should the 49ers feel about the interior line after Banks and Brendel's good showing? Well, they should feel a lot better than before the game. One thing about these preseason games, though, is that you're not facing Kenny Clark and the top interior defensive lineman of the Packers at all. And then even the first team they run out there for the first game, they're not going to stay in there all too long. So then you start facing the second stringers. Brandon and Banks didn't stay in the game long enough to face the third stringers, but I think Spencer Burford probably did by the end of it. Either way, the level of competition is not what it's going to be in the regular season. And that's important to know. Okay. But I mean, it would be a complete panic button pressing, smashing incident if Banks and Brendel look bad, against the Kenny Clarkless Packers defense. So the fact that they look good, it's a good step. Now they have to look good against the Vikings on Wednesday and Thursday, and then you want them to look even better in the dress rehearsal against the Houston Texans the following Thursday. So it's a long process here. As long as you get two of those three, right? It's Banks, Brendel, Burford. It sounds like a law firm. Banks, Brendel, and Burford. I mean, that's a really high-powered law firm. Man, that's good. BBB. As long as you get two of those three, to give Spencer Burford some runway because he's the least experienced and he had the worst outing out of all three, I think you've done a good job for the 49ers. And I believe in Burford, the person. I really do. I've gotten to know him. He is one motivated individual. I think that he's got the mental makeup to get the job done at right guard. So I actually had bigger questions about Banks and Brendel, especially because I didn't know them as much as a person. Nothing against them. I just had gotten exposed more to Spencer Burford, and he's a rookie. I think the learning curve and the actual learning process is going to be rapid with him based on the way that he approaches the game and how locked in his mentality is. Womack, in James Collins' opinion, will be the best fit for nickel. I mean, they drafted Womack to be the nickel of the future. Darqueze Dennard is the nickel of now. How quickly Womack takes over for Dennard is up to your interpretation. We will see. It's up to the coaching staff's interpretation. Right now, Dennard has that top spot at the nickel back position, but Womack had a hell of a game on Friday. I've been saying this all off season. The offensive line is the 49ers' biggest question. Yes, indeed. Q&A remains open. Subscribe to The Athletic. Those of you just coming into the room, this is what I mean by subscribe to The Athletic. This is the piece that I wrote today from 49ers practice. Going to go ahead and put that in a chat section one more time for you, since there's way more of you, 300 of you, than there were before. Then subscribe to this channel, because I think that we're about to hit 18,000. We're just a few away from 18K. So make sure to sub to the channel and follow along on Twitter and on Instagram at Lombardi himself. 9:04 p.m. on a beautiful Sunday evening. I'm waking up early tomorrow, going swimming in the bay. And then from there, we'll be headed to Santa Clara for the 49ers final practice before they take off to Minnesota. So they take off a little bit after practice tomorrow. San Jose to Minneapolis for the 49ers. You can track their jet online if that's the kind of stuff that you want to do. Let's be respectful to each other. If not, I will kick you out, says Mike. Good. I love it. That is a stern message. I hope everybody listens. I thought Banks looked really good against the Packers. Didn't allow pressure. I thought the run blocking was solid. Pass blocking is the bigger issue there in Banks. I thought that he did look good against the Packers. 8 or 9 offensive linemen will make the 53. I'm not sure how many. Let's give it a couple more games to allow this to sort itself out. If Jason Verrett can come back and is healthy, will he start? What are the expectations for him this season? If he's healthy, then Jason Verrett might be, the 49ers' second best cornerback next to Charvarius Ward. Thing is, we're a long way away from the 49ers having to make that decision, because Pup, if you put have a player on Pup from before preseason or before training camp, and you keep him on there into the regular season, he only has to miss the first 4 regular season games instead of 6 this year without taking up a roster spot. So I think that Jason Verrett, in all likelihood, because of that rule change, will be on Pup to start the season, and the 49ers won't have to reach a decision bridge until week 5. And then in week 5, with that decision bridge, well, Maybe somebody's hurt by then. Maybe Emmanuel Mosley is not available. So then it becomes an easy thing. It's a good problem to have potentially for the 49ers. Raiders fan here. What's up, Leon? You drafted Lance in fantasy. Well, could be a good decision. Could blow up in your face. Either one. We'll see. I mean, Trey Lance is right now is a volatile stock to own. And that's exciting because he could be really, really good. But the floor right now, I still think there's a floor there that's uncomfortably low. It's the coaching staff's job. It's Lance's job to raise that floor before September 11th so that Leon Moody's fantasy team does well with Trey Lance on it. DeMarcus Dixon. I'm late, but where do you see Hyder as of now? I see him on the 53. I think they're going to carry 11 defensive linemen. If they don't carry 11, they'll carry 10. I think Hyder's one of those 10. 8.5 sacks the 49ers 2 years ago. With Werner coming off the pup, will the backup tight end competition get more interesting after what we've seen with Dwelly, Croft, and Hudson? Maybe. I want to see how quickly they integrate Werner into the mix. Is he a de facto number 2 or does he have to work for it? Because right now it goes Kittle, Croft, and Dwelly. I don't know if you could interchange Dwelly and Croft, but those are the 3. Kyle in the past has typically carried 4 tight ends, though. So we'll see who that direct backup to George Kittle is. 6 wide receiver, I project to be Malik Turner. He's a great special teams player. So I think Turner is going to be that 6 wide receiver. Has played for Brian Schneider, actually, before, 49ers special teams coordinator. Is this a projection from Football Outsiders? I think they're probably basing it on the fact that the defense was like 16th for most of last season before they turned it up at the end. Football Outsiders also had a weighted strength thing, which took into account how the defense finished, and they finished number 3 last season. Offense, I mean, if the offense is volatile, that's why they're in the middle. That's why they ranked them 16th. You go either way for the 49ers. I think offense 16, defense 14 is not being respectful enough of the 49ers defense. I think it's for sure a top 10 unit, likely a top 5 unit, and there's a chance it's the best unit. That's how I see the talent on this 49ers defense. But complementary football is important, and I get it. They're concerned after last year because the defense did start slower last year, but we've been at camp every day. I trust my reporting. I've seen a very, very talented 49ers defense. Theoretically, Burford could play right tackle. He played tackle in college, but they want him at guard. And they can't just move Burford to right tackle in his first year and then have a vacuum at guard, right? They need to get that right guard position figured out because it's killed them in years prior. Aaron Donald rushes a lot over the inside. I know he rushes everywhere, but you got to get right guard figured out. Tackle, let's not freak out about Mike McGlinchey right now. Mike McGlinchey has looked good physically coming back from the injury. He's got a little knee soreness. They're managing him as he comes back here through training camp. But if he comes back healthy, the 49ers will be fine at that right tackle position. We're Alex Smith subs away from 18K. Let's do it. I haven't been following this all too closely. There's a lot of noise in training camp, but I know he's got some kind of elbow tendonitis, right? Matthew Stafford. And I don't think you could use it to adjust the odds at this point. Let's wait till this regular season starts because I don't think anybody's got real intel on this on the outside. Which 49ers assistant will be the next one to get poached for a head coaching job? I would think DeMeco Ryans is the favorite in that regard. And I will be calling it pretty soon. I want to relax a bit. It's Sunday evening. You know how it is. So anyway, that's probably the last one I'm going to take. I answered a lot of questions on this. You guys know the drill. Let's get up over 18,000. So sub to the channel, sub to The Athletic. You have the article right there. That is from practice today. Follow along on Twitter. Let's have another fun week, guys. 49ers off to Minnesota. Channel blowing up. Athletic blowing up. Everybody's getting on board. I love it. And the regular season's less than a month away. So I love building the community on here. I love answering your questions. I'd appreciate that sub, and I hope I talk to you all very, very soon. All right, everybody take care. Have a great Sunday night.